sunflowers and sky and earth and my shadow. There I am. We're just gonna walk through. So I brought The Energy of Prayer by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's some prayer cards. But apparently the cards aren't in the box. They're somewhere on my bookshelf. So I'm just gonna turn to something in the book and just read that. Let's see. How about this? Touching God. Touching God. We need to look deeply to know how to be able to be in touch with God. According to the theologian Paul Tillich, God is the foundation of all that is, the ground of being. According to that definition, if God is the foundation, then what is being? Being is the creation of God. So how can we be in touch with God if we're not in touch with what God has created? We can touch God through God's creations. When we pray, we can be in touch with the ground of being through the phenomenal world. Buddha is a phenomenon, a person with a name, a birth, a father, a mother, a date of death. There is a part of the planet Earth where Buddha was born, lived, practiced, and taught his disciples. But the essence of Buddha is Buddha nature. All of us have this awakened nature. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha puts it like this: all living beings have the capacity to become Buddha. The essential nature of living beings is the Buddha nature. When we pray to the Buddha, we are getting in touch with Buddha nature. And when we pray to ourselves, we also get in touch with Buddha nature. In Vietnam, we have a custom of praying to spirits, those who have died and become holy souls. We also pray to our ancestors and to our parents who have passed away. We pray because we believe firmly that when we are in touch with these people, we receive energy from them that will help us. For thousands of years in Vietnam, whenever people have had problems, they have lit incense and prayed to their ancestors. It's similar to that in the Catholic Church. So when I find the prayer cards, I'll choose one. But we'll talk about prayer and God and death and hope, since I'm in the land of sunflowers that have not bloomed yet for Maria's sunflowers. Since I'm such like a professional YouTube creator and didn't put the prayer cards in there, I'm gonna choose one more. I'm gonna choose a Michael Singer card from the Untethered Soul. Okay, I got them shuffled and we'll see what happens. So we'll have two things to talk about: prayer, God, praying to ancestors, Buddhism, Maria's field of sunflowers that are ready to bloom. Let's see what we get. Okay, here we go. This one. The more you sit in the self, the more you will begin to feel an energy that you have never experienced before. It comes up from behind rather than in front, where you experience your mind and emotions. Well, I guess this little, I don't know, contemplation and reflection is kind of a heavy duty one, I think. The prayer cards that weren't there, and then also the sunflowers that aren't quite blooming, and we're making our way to the middle of October 2022, and we're at Maria's Field of Hope with the sunflowers. And I didn't have the card, but Thich Nhat Hanh is a Buddhist monk. He's from Vietnam. I believe they have a village, Plum Village, in France, where he teaches. And it talks about God and God as a being, and being as us being. And I think it's kind of like the Buddha nature, and the Buddha nature is like that divine spark in Christianity. And it's like, I think, I'm not positive, but I'm going to look it up, in the Kabbalah tradition, in the Jewish tradition, there's Kabbalah. It's more of the mystical. It's like divine sparks. We're all divine sparks of God. And even if we're not acting on it, it's in there somewhere, teensy weensy for some people. And then I think some people just have a problem with the prayers to the ancestors, and Catholics, they do that. They have prayers. It's kind of like calling up God, in my mind. If I was going to put it into terms simplistic, that are words we would use these days. Pick up the phone and call God, and pick up the phone and call someone before God. It used to be the priest, and it used to be taught that there was no other way but having to go through the priest. At least that's my interpretation of it. So it's like that for me, and I just try to put it into words that can make sense, and some things just do not make sense. Like, I'm standing in the middle of these unblooming sunflowers with a giant sign of hope and all these pictures of children who died from cancer. So spirituality sometimes isn't simple.